Hello everyone, welcome back to HP UFT Day 1 training. My name is Karthik and I will guide you through what we're going to do in the coming few days. Most importantly, to begin with, what is it that we plan to accomplish in today's session? So primarily team, the main agenda for today's session is Day 1. We're going to install the tool. In the previous session, I showed you how to download the trial version directly from HP, which is now part of Micro Focus company, which is a UK based organization which has acquired the HP Enterprise suite of products, but it still goes with the same brand name as UFT. We will then talk about the most important aspects, team. How do we start with a manual testing process? We will try and build a couple of test scenarios or cases for a manual testing, and then look at how to automate the same using HP UFT. At the beginning, we will explore the record and run feature. Now, all this is not necessarily part of the first day. We will accomplish them as we go along. And every single aspect of what you see is critical. And I'm going to tell you exactly why we have to ensure everything that we do is in the proper shape. And then we're going to talk about custom automation scripts. How do we write our own scripts using the inbuilt VB script and editor that HP UFT gives us, and how the various aspects and challenges of automation are handled through inbuilt features. And at the crux of it, we will focus on automation framework development. The reason I emphasize a lot on framework is for two things, team. One, it is industry need. Frameworks is something that everywhere you go, they will talk about it. Second, it will give you a lot of hands-on coding exposure. So there are easier solutions that are inbuilt with HP UFT, and there's the tougher way where you will have to actually sit down and start doing things. So if you start writing the code and try and create something more complex in a structured way, that is where you continue to build your capability. So why do we require things like manual testing process? Why is this essential? Unless we know what is manual testing as a simple process, we're not going to emphasize too long, and understand the pain and challenge in it, we will not appreciate what an automation tool does. And that is where it becomes very critical, team. All right. And any questions that you have during the webinar, I will try and pause at equal like every 15-20 minutes and take them. Okay, team. We will also try and compare UFT with Selenium and maybe NEOT also. How does it differentiate from these two tools? So let's get going. Like I said, I will try and do the installation from the other machine in the next few minutes, but let's talk about a manual testing process, team. The first and foremost thing for any testing process or any uh, process that we do in real life is to write down the steps. And to do that, I'll take a Excel kind of a sheet in the Google Drive. All the files that I'll do as part of this training will be put in this folder, but please do note, I will not share this folder with you or send everyday files. I want you to watch the video and practice on it offline. Create them at your end. Every script that I write, do it at your end. We will do about 2 or 3 projects as part of this entire exercise. In that, when we finish each project, I will share those files with you. All right, team? Okay, so the first assumption that I have, team, I'm assuming most of you have a decent idea on the manual testing and quality assurance process. Why is testing needed? How do we go about creating test cases as manual testing, and how do we build them? The most important aspect of that, like I said, is a process. So this, I'll call this as project 1, test cases. Now let's identify, the first thing we need to do is identify an application under test. So as part of this, we will have to talk about the AUT. What is the application that we test? There are many applications that are available in the market that we can look at. Any web-based application that we're going to take and start working. Our focus will be web-based applications, while HP UFT still has the distinctive advantage of working with certain desktop apps that are built using programs that HP UFT can understand. That's where the add-ons come in, where it can understand a .NET application or a Java application and other related technologies that it can recognize. So team, if there's any question, just hold on to it for a few minutes that we have. As we go along, I'll keep giving a pause. I'll not look at the Q&A in between right now. So there are many applications, team, but then if I give you an application where you practice and work, and you can also put as a referenceable project, then it adds value. Then it has to be something that we own, where we really have a need and you can help us execute it. One of the applications that we are actively working right now is QAOnAir.com. This is a live app. I will give you access to the dev version later, and in that you'll be able to get more details. So I'll do a very quick walkthrough of it, what it does, and then finally we will talk about identify some test scenarios or test cases, however way you can interchangeably call them. So what is QA on Air, team? QA on Air primarily is an application where it's kind of a marketplace where freelance software test engineers can come in and try and put their profile up. You could be a fresher who's looking at their first project experience. You could be someone who's working in the testing industry, but you want to do a part-time job. You would like to do some work directly from home, and you want to go and work directly with the customers. That's for the freelancers. Then we have the clients. Clients are primarily the organizations or small QA teams or an individual startup who's looking to get their product tested, and they need workforce. They may not need someone full time. They may not need someone working for 8 hours a day, but they still have a project. It could be a specific scope and so on. So the advantage for them is they get to try the staff before they give an offer. They will be able to quickly ramp up or ramp down, and they can look at the different profiles that the users have created and hire them through this platform directly. So we have not done an official launch yet, while we have many freelancers who have already applied for it, and there are also a few projects getting posted. Over the next few weeks, you'll see a lot of progress happening in this application. So this is primarily what the application is all about. Now, does this application require to be tested? If any of you have an issue with audio or video, team, please note it could be specific to you, because there are over 60 participants right now in this session. And if there's a generic issue, everyone will have an issue, not the single one of you. All right. So does this application need to be tested? Does it require testing? Of course, every application needs to be tested, right? Every application needs to be tested. So I'll put some pointers here, team. Every app needs testing. What is the primary reason, team? Is it because we don't trust development? Some notes that I'll put. Not because we do not trust developers. It is not that, team. It is long gone that developers, because they're also getting very test friendly. They want to ensure that their tests, whatever they do, will pass the remaining tests. It is just the variety and the types of users who access. When we create something, we built it with a specific user in mind. But then when it is being used, there are certain specific needs where the systems tend to break down. And that is what we need to ensure that we are covering. So we need a lot of permutations and combinations to test, to try and break this application. A user login, as simple as it looks, can be one scenario, but looking at the permutations and combinations, it can turn out to be 25 to 30 test cases by itself. Just changing sets of test data, browsers, hosting environments, countries, location, can throw up a lot of issues, team, that have not been realized. And that's why we need to go through them rigorously and ensure. Basic testing, anyone can do it, but much more advanced testing, different scenarios and so on, that is where we need to really focus on. So this is a very simple application. It's got a login feature, it's got a sign up feature, and you can try and register either as an employer, which is a client, or a freelancer. So let's talk about a scenario where we try and sign up as a freelancer. So I go to the page, I click on sign up, I click on sign up here again under freelancer. I have a form to fill, I submit it, and then I get a confirmation on it, right? So that is the process. Now this is one scenario, team. Out of the scenario, you may be able to create multiple test cases that let us ensure that we test all different types of scenarios that can happen under it. Now, in this Excel sheet, we will create the first template. Let's rename this to as test cases. I will write down all the different test cases that are present. So first thing I'll put is an identification for each test case. Why do we require an ID for a test case? Because when I report a defect, I can say that defect number 793 is linked to test case 034, and it is then linked to a requirement 02. What does that mean, team? We are able to trace back from a defect to how we tested and how we got the defect to how it was developed based on which requirement. So we know exactly where the fault lies. So this kind of a simple identification helps us to better manage our testing process. So we create a test case ID, then we'll put a test case description. What is it that it does? And then we will talk about, do I want to execute this or not? What do I mean by executing a team? Always remember that we are talking about, where is my fresh paint? There you go. Regression testing. Regression testing is the core thing, team, especially when it comes to agile working methodologies. When we talk about Scrum and agile kind of a platform, regression testing is very critical. So what briefly is regression testing? I'll not go very deep, but once you understand the concept, automation makes a lot of sense when it comes to regression testing. Let us assume that this is a box that represents a current functionality of an application. Let's talk about an application that we all use. Let's say WhatsApp. WhatsApp has current features. Let's talk about one feature earlier to this. So let's talk about breaking this into multiple boxes, and each box representing a specific functionality. One could be individual chat, group chat, audio call, video call, sending attachments, broadcast, so many features, right? Now let's assume this is version 21.1. Now comes another version 21.2. The difference between these two is one functionality is deleted, one functionality is changed, and a new functionality is added, and that becomes the new version. This is the one. Now, so there is modifications, there is deletion, and there is new functionality. When I need to release it, what does WhatsApp as a company need to do? It has to test it. What are the features it needs to test? The modified ones, does it have to test what has been modified? Yes. Is it working correctly? Whatever modifications have happened, the developer writes one code, but we have to execute multiple variations of a scenario to do that. So yes, I need to do this. Do I need to test if a deleted code or deleted functionality is working? Actually, I should test to see that because you deleted this, nothing else is broken, or it is actually not visible anymore. That I have to do. Do we need to test new functionality? Of course, obviously, it is fresh. It is bound to have many defects. Correct, team? Is this correct? Do I need to do anything else? Is this enough? Sufficient, right? To test? But that is not regression testing, team. Regression means repeating, retesting, and that simply means that not only will we look at what is affected, but we'll have to now test the entire system as is, with these changes, with these omissions, with the additions. We need to see if this new version is working totally. So look at the amount of repetition that I have to do for the testing. And that becomes very critical, team. So if I spend, let's say, 1,000 hours testing version 21.1, and maybe this circle that I've identified here with MDN takes only, let's say, 50 hours to test this. How long will it take to test version 21.2? It's gonna take at least 1,000 hours, maybe a little bit more, maybe 1,050. Not necessarily the correct math for it, but let's assume it's 1,050. Now I'm doing the same test every 2 weeks. So this 1,000 hours that we have is being tested so regularly every 2 weeks that it does not make sense to keep doing a manual process. Can we look at automation? That is where it comes in, team. Now, when I talk about the reason I picked up that is execute. When I talk about execution, we are only talking manual testing right now, team. We have not yet got into automation. When we say execute, I want to say yes or no to it. Why? For this specific release, for this specific run, do we want to execute that test case or not? We have a choice. I want to do something quick. I need to look at, can you give me a yes or no if this application is okay for further testing or not? Can you do a smoke test and smell and see if it is fine very quickly? Then I will do what is circled here and quickly say, okay, you know what? These changes are okay, but I cannot certify the entire application unless we do a total regression testing. That is fine. At that time, you want to know if it is execute yes or no for that one. And then finally, you have a result. Did it pass? This is no run. This is fail. I need to look at that. This are test cases, team. So for QA on air, I'll just call this as QAO underscore user module. Every scenario that you see can be broken down into module underscore 001. That is the test case that I'll create. For this, I will say this is sign up freelancer. Then I'll have one more in the same format. This is a nomenclature or a standard that we're following, team. Each of us could have, what happened? Each of us could be having different way of naming it. The naming convention could be what you do. This is sign up freelancer. Then I have sign up client. What was the name that came up on the website? And we tried employer freelancer. So we'll use the same name. That way there's no confusion. Employer. But this, I'm not yet ready for it. Then I will have one more QAO underscore user management underscore 003. I'll say user login. I don't know if there's a different login for freelancer, any different one for employer. I'm not sure, but I'll just put it in there. Everyone with me, team? The classes do start a little bit more slow, and then once the fundamentals are built, it becomes easy for us to really explode. Because the main issue that we see in today's world, team, let's say yes to this, and I'm just putting fail right now. What opportunity I get to see is do a lot of recruitment, right from interns, freshers, straight out of engineering, and so on. And the fundamental issue that is happening there is the fact that they don't have the basic programming standards a week. The basic approach is not there. They try and mug up more from an interview perspective, how to get through a job requirement rather than really mastering something. That is where I try and put emphasis and really go in depth. Once these things are set, it is very easy for you to move forward significantly. Look at how much emphasis I'm putting at even the simple naming, coloring, the shape of it. It is the approach that we take, team. And this is something any organization you go, they will appreciate. You show us very, very illy managed Excel sheet and a much better one, they'll know that, oh, the style in which this specific individual works is good. It is, so we can trust that even the code that he or she writes will definitely be good, because you're not going to work independently, you will be working as teams, right? So test steps. Now I'm just going to copy this, keep the same format, and change it here. Everyone with me? Come on. Any questions so far that I could handle? Now, for each test case, I will have specific test step ID and then step description, test step result, test step error. Copy this, put it there. This is acting funny. Test step error. Come on. All right. So for each test case now, there are multiple steps. Why do I require multiple steps? If I write that, why do I need steps, team? Why do we need even test steps? If someone comes to you and tells, hey, can you please test the functionality of sign up for a freelancer? Would you go and ask questions, team, saying that what you should do, or you're smart enough to identify what has to be done and go about testing it? Then why do you need this described very detailed steps? The more number of times you ask why are we doing certain thing, why like this, why not keep it simple and faster, the better your fundamentals will get, team. Let me tell you exactly why. Number one, you are a QA engineer, be it in automation or be it a manual, okay? And you create, let us say, a document with certain things in it. Now, only will you be accessing this, or will there be a team accessing it? There's another QA engineer, there is a developer, there is a test manager who may also look at these documents and try and understand. If you tomorrow log a defect, who's going to look at that? The developer has to see. One of the first things the developer tries to do is protect what they have created. They have an affinity, they have a love towards what they've built. they don't want to accept that yes, it's a defect. What will they do at that stage? They will basically say, you know what, it's not a defect. But then how do you prove it? Saying that, hey, you know what, I have good documentation, step by step details as to how you can arrive. And then you have a good way to go about proving that it is a valid defect. What about the other QA engineer? Why does he or she has to access? You may write the test case. Someone else may execute the test case. So what did you write? What is it that they want to execute could be different. And hence you have to write at length. What is it? So the first step is what? Open browser. Now we know that in today's world we're working with multiple browsers. Don't we need to know which browser has to be open? Maybe it worked on Chrome. Maybe the complete UI got messed up in the latest version of Firefox. I need some amount of information to support what I'm using. That becomes my test data. Let us say we're saying Chrome. That is where we're going to test this. Results not yet. We are still writing the test case. So the results are something we will get to know later. So I'm going to change the color combination for this. Put it maybe this color. Okay. What is the second step, team? You have to go to the website, navigate. Do I require a test data team to navigate? We are going to talk about manual test case here. Yes. What is the website? Right now it is QA OnAir. Will it change ever for this application? Will the URL change? Yes or no? Simple question. Can everyone say yes or no? What do you think? The question is very simple. Will the URL change for testing? Yes or no? I want everyone to answer kindly. It makes you also active. If you're spending time here, pay full attention. Get the best out of it. Being half here, half on the phone, half being diverted somewhere doesn't really help team. So, will the URL change? Yes or no? That's the question. Will for this application, we're only talking QA OnAir. Will it change? Yes or no? It will of course change, team. Why? Again, fundamentals. We do not do everything on one version. The live version will be qaonair.com, but before it goes to live version, there is a dev box. It'll be dev.qaonair.com slash blah blah blah. Then there could be a testing version, another box or server. It will be test dot so and so. Then there will be a production version, and there can be multiple versions, live and so on. The final one is live. So where did you test it? I will say I tested it on test.124. Then what happens? You log a defect and the developer says, oh, you know what? In the new version, it is already fixed. So don't worry. You logged a defect, but in the dev.125, they're saying it is fixed. So you change this to 125 and test it again. That is the reason even the URL is bound to change. Do not accept ever that something may not change. So next we navigate it. After we navigate, what is it that we want to do as a user? Simple. We have to be very descriptive so that anyone in the team can take this test case and work on it in the QA team. Other teams like development team should be able to reproduce the defect looking at these steps. I need to click on the sign up link. So click on sign up link. Does it require test data to click on sign up link? No, because it is going to be sign up. It is visible that this is sign up, and a human can easily identify where is sign up and click on it. You can have additional steps saying that verify that there is a sign up link on the top right hand corner of the application. Then we can say click on sign up link. 5 steps that are required can become 20 steps easily. Then fourth one. So this doesn't require test data. I'm just going to put a hyphen. Once we click on the sign up link, we get the sign up free account. Now I can say verify that sign up free account account comes up. Okay, so this also does not require test data. We're just verifying that it's there. 5, click on sign up for freelancer. Click on sign up button under freelancer. And once we click on that, what happens? 6, I'll say fill the form. And 7, confirm, submit the form. 8, check for valid creation. That is what we want to do. Now look at the variations, team. I said fill the form. There are so many fields here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fields. I need to actually write down each and every step. For now, I'm just keeping it that way, team. I'm not writing all the steps, which we will do. But this is one simple test case. The user registration details are needed here. So submit the form. I don't require test data. Check for valid creation. I need to look at the message. Confirmation message should appear. One quick second, team. So team, any questions so far, please? While I try and set things up on UFT. Any questions that I can handle? We need separate cases for the form? No, we don't need separate cases for the form. This one itself needs to be expanded. What, as per our plan that we put, what we said is we will do a couple of test scenarios for manual testing. Not for a manual testing, for manual testing. Right now we just created one. And we will then want to look at automation. So why do we need automation? Is a big question. Why is automation needed? This is a very, very important question, team. Why do you think automation is needed? What are the fundamental reasons? Whenever we have a question and you're not sure about the answer, try and relate to something in your regular world that will come close to as an example with this. And that will give us that strong ability. Team, let me make sure that the audio is fine while I also connect from the other machine. But before that, this is the, sorry, one second. There's going to be the sound. But before that, I want to make sure that we know the reasons. Let's talk about a simple thing like what is the primary difference between a manual transmission car and an automation transmission? Can you all think about the advantages between manual and automation? I'm talking about a car. Think about a few and put your answers, team, in the chat. A car that is manual transmission and the same car which is automation, automatic transmission. What is the primary advantage or difference? So what I'm hearing is there's no clutch. So that means your one leg is free and it is easier to drive. You don't have to keep changing the gears every time. The car automatically decides the acceleration and speed as to what you need to do. It is more comfortable for the rider, less work, manual effort. You can be more focused on the road rather than changing the gears. right? What else? Is it more fuel efficient? Maybe, may not be. But how about the cost? Let us say a car that costs 30,000 manual transmission. How much will it cost with automatic transmission? More, right? So then what's the point? The key thing there is trade-off. So a $30,000 car which is manual transmission can be 33,000 with automatic transmission, because you're paying for that comfort. You're paying for the ability to load the manual stress and effort on a human. And that is what the world is all about today, team. The commerce that happens is all about how do we charge someone for a comfort, how do we lesser their problems or pain, and that is what the whole human population is ready to put money for. There's one more advantage, if you notice, for manual and automation, automatic transmission, especially for someone who does driving for both. I do both. Both in India and US, I have manual and automatic cars. Is when you're stopped at a signal or a light which is uphill and you have a manual, you need to be really a good skilled driver to go from zero uphill and not keep going down and hit the car behind you. And that is much more effective when it comes to automatic, because it will not let it roll down, it will automatically control. And it is much more advanced in terms of how efficiently it uses the engine, and the engine has a better long life. With clutch, there are much more moving components that are human controlled, and there's an issue that can happen. The fundamental three things, team, that comes to um, shifting from manual to automation is it improving efficiency? That's the first thing. Is it efficiency when it means that what I can do in 10 minutes, can I do it in 3 minutes? What I can do with 2 feet, can I do it in with using 1 feet? What I can do with one hand, can I 2 hands, can I do it with one hand? That is efficiency, team. Other one, which is not really uh, maybe as applicable, is reusability. Now you're paying for it, you want to keep using it. It is not that you use it one time and then throw it. It's not a one time use. You want to continuously reuse the same thing, because the extra money that you paid, the 10% extra surcharge because of the comfort, has to come. It is all about the return on the investment. Will you be able to get the return on that investment that you made, be it saving on gas, oil, maintenance, comfort, and so on. And the last and the most important thing is, team, accuracy. Does not matter how much comfort we give in a product, in a solution. If it is not accurate, it is absolutely waste of time. These are the fundamental three things, team, and I put them as ERA: efficiency, reusability, and accuracy. Everything will fall under that, team. We spend time and effort building something, then we need to ensure that we get to the efficiency, reusability, and accuracy. So team, before I switch to the other machine, I want to check if there are any questions, and then we'll go about installing HP UFT and taking it from there. Are you all getting the video screen okay? Because one individual is having an issue with seeing the frozen screen. Now, one quick question before I move forward. I'm assuming all of you have seen the orientation session video so that you can download the latest version of HP UFT and start working with it. What is trade-off? Good question. Trade-off is a balance. You give something, you get something. It is the basic art of trading or commerce. When where there was no currency, let's say I had an apple, but then I didn't have a knife. So I give 10 apples to someone, they give me one knife. And that person needs apples for food. So trade-off is when you give something and you get something in return, there is a good balance. Now, in this case, the trade-off is the cost is higher, but what is the good part of it? Your comfort is better. There is better maintenance, and it will pay out over a period of time. That is a trade-off team, where you give something, you get something, but the end there is some equality in it. If you are spending money and you're not getting any comfort, why will you keep using it? It is just laziness, correct? That's trade-off. So the downloading of the trial version, I showed it in the orientation session, and it's also there. The links are there in the notes of the YouTube video that you can look at. All right, team. I'm gonna switch to becoming the presenter on the other machine now and start sharing my screen on it. Change presenter to me, and here we are. I'm gonna go to Drive, Google. What? Go to Google Drive. Come on. Why did it log out of everything? Okay, cool. The Google Drive is coming up. Let me quickly go to downloads and so good part about Google Drive is I create it in one place and I get it in access it over the cloud. So that keeps things easy for me. All right, so let's do the setup. So I downloaded the basic version, not the complete version of HP UFT, because that is not needed for us team, unless you want to work with plugins and so on. So choose a folder. I'll not choose temp. Temp does not make sense for me. So I'll put a new folder here under C drive. I'll call it as UFT, and under UFT is what I will install. It's going to extract the files. Shouldn't take too long. The version I'm using is the latest one team, version number 14. What is UFT? UFT is Unified Functional Testing. That is the name of the tool. So HP QTP, Quick Test Professional, became HP UFT. So here it is, and the orientation session. Come on, Unified Functional Testing. And while that other one is happening, this is what we discussed in day one. I don't think I put links anywhere, but I believe I should have put it in the description in the YouTube. But I'll try and add links so it can be shared with you, these documents team. Okay, still extracting the files, so we'll wait for it for one couple of minutes. So while we're doing that, we have this test steps. Let's expand on this team. So I have this basic one. Let's talk about filling the form on QA OnAir. So I'll follow the same steps. I'll insert 6 above, copy this everywhere. This equals this plus 1. So that formula will give me numbers till all. So first is enter first name, enter last name. What else is there? Sign up. First name, last name, email, username, password, confirm your password. Enter email, enter username, enter password, re-enter password. These are the details. Now, do we require test data for this? Absolutely yes. So let's say I'll put my name Karthik, Kusireddy, email, I'll say kk@workasa.com, enter username, I'll say Karthik, for example, and password 123qw123qw, just a test password. This is all that I have. I don't need this, so I delete this row. Copy this, put it here, submit the form, check for the validation, valid creation. Now, if I fill in these details one time, I won't be able to fill in this detail again, correct, everyone? But then I need to check. So I will do this manually while I'm writing the test case itself on how it happens. See, as soon as I write first name, last name, it is already saying the field is required. Is it necessary? No. That's the recommendation that we can say that, okay, go do that. So the following prerequisite programs must be installed before you install. So all this are there. I'll just say Control A, select everything and say okay to that. It'll start installing one by one. So Karthik Kusireddy have entered KK. So let's enter the email kk@workasa.com. Username I'm saying is Karthik. Password is 123qw, confirm. Please enter the same value again. See, unless I entered the same value, it did not take it. So if I enter something different, this is coming up. And this is a great validation check that we should do. For that also, we could write a test case. All right. Now, when I click on sign up, let us see what happens. I'm performing this test manually. Sorry, that username already exists. Let us assume that this is what we are testing. This is one test case, team. Sign up freelancer. I'll say there's a new test case called sign up freelancer. Existing username. Every step is the same for this test case. So I'll copy the whole thing. I'll just call this as 5. Copy this, put it across. I'm going to color this little differently from the other. So there's a clear differentiation. Let's put this light pink. And this, let's put it as light blue. And here, the difference, team, is this already exists. So we need to ensure enter username that exists. And the submit the form. Confirmation message that we're expecting is this. Check for valid error message. Now, this is an important test case. Look at the number of combinations that we could come up with. You enter wrong passwords that don't match, that gives one. You enter an existing email address that might give one. Existing username might give one, and so on. So there is a huge number of activities that we need to perform, team. So next. So I'll keep things as is. ALM plugin and LeanFT, I'm not doing it right now. I'm leaving all those things as default. Say next. Configure IE settings, yes. Allow running UFT remotely from ALM, not yet. Allow running UFT remotely from automation scripts, also not necessary yet. I'll just say install. And what I expect you all to do, team, is to repeat the same steps. And then once the application is launched, we'll take a look at it. I must have seen the older version, I think was 12. So I'm sure there'll be certain changes to the UI that have happened. But these tools are built in such a way that it should be user friendly enough for us to do a self discovery as to what changed and so on. And once we look into it, we should be able to easily access what we need. Enter unique email here. Unique username here. Tomorrow, I believe, is day 2 Teams. It starts at the same 9 a.m. Pacific. And just for information, most of you who've been following me, I'm back in the US. I reached yesterday late evening back to LA. It asked for Chrome extension. I said yes to it. Do you need a license to install that application? Like I showed in the orientation, it's a free trial version. It is a trial license. I believe it's 30 or 60 days free trial. That should be sufficient for you to play around with the tool and learn it. So the installation is done. Though it should start the launch in a second or two. What happened? HP UFT is here. Didn't launch by itself. Okay. Continue. It's a 60 days trial. So there's ActiveX, UI automation licensed, web is licensed, mobile is there. That's the new feature that they've added. So I'll just put it as is and say OK. Allow access. Okay. There you go. Wow. A lot of things have come in team. It looks very fresh. It's not much more better looking UI. It's got a lot of things. Now, the fundamental and most important thing, team, that you need to understand is this is a application. It's a Windows application, so it has a menu bar. A lot of features will be inbuilt with it, and you will have variety of views. You could change the way this tool looks, make adjustments, what you want to see where, and so on. There is also the start page that has kind of a dashboard. As you go about building your projects and tests, you can see them here. It's got a what's a new feature. It's talking about the different things that they're trying to incorporate into it and what all they have been done. There's a news feed, I believe, maybe coming from Twitter and other social media about it. Uh, you can ignore everything that is here, team. The first thing you do is close the start page. You start with a blank thing. The second step, team, is for you to go to File, say New, and say that I want to do a new test, because that is what we're doing. And this is a GUI test. We're talking about an application which has got a graphical user interface, and that is what we're doing. API is when you're having interfaces with other programs and applications. And business process test and business process flow is more specific for BPM related tests. Ignore them for now. Let's go fundamentally with a GUI test and give it a name. So we're saying this is QA on air underscore user management underscore TC005. The same name that we have in the Excel, and I'll say create. When we start with this team, you will see the solution explorer now having the specific test case that we created, and by default it created something called as an action 1. What are actions? Primarily what happens, team, is what happens is The way UFT tries to work, it says, is that a user performs multiple actions in a test case. It could be action 1 followed by action 2 and so on. What could that be? And let's say 3. Let us say you're working on a banking application. The action 1 could be something like user login. Action 2 could be something like transfer money. Action 3 could be something like verify and then log out. The reason these are essential for you to look at is that you have combined multiple steps under one action, and that becomes reusable actions. These are some inbuilt features we will explore as we go along, but most importantly, what UFT does provide as inbuilt, we will do custom creation at a script level. So what you see here is a graphical representation of your tests. And what we will not do is going this way in the graphical way. We will go with more writing the code out here ourselves. So there is a way that you can add more blocks and talk about what each does and so on. Ignore that because you want to be programmatically strong. You want to have hands-on coding. So here is where you will start writing your code. Now to begin with, what are the steps that we wanted to execute? Here they are. So I'll just copy this steps and I'll put it here. Now, what are these, team? These are English statements. What happens with our tool is that UFT has to perform these steps on the application under test. We know how to do it manually, but now we have to try and teach a tool how it can do these steps automatically. When we perform these steps on the application, we do it directly. We know how to do it based on what we wrote. When we have to do it with UFT, you have two options. Option 1 is you do a record and run that. Option 2 is you do your custom script. 85-90%, actually 95% of your time we will spend in the option 2 where we do coding, we do custom creation as part of our program. But it is essential to know also how the record and run feature works, team. I'm going to take another 10 minutes for today and then take Q&A and we'll come back to continue in tomorrow's session. All right. Okay. Now, how do we do record and write? These are the steps that we want to perform. Let's just delete them for now out here. Let's erase this also. Can you see a red button here, team? This is the record feature. When you click on this, UFT says, I am ready to learn whatever we do. So I'm going to move this window to the left side and I'll try and get up IE on the right side and see if it even recognizes what we're doing. I don't know. What I can do though is go to record in the menu bar. Just follow these instructions when you are trying to practice it and click on record and run settings. In here, you have two options, record and run on any open browser. So the browser, if it's already open, great. Or you can say open the following when recording or running. Use local browser, that's fine. And then URL of this application is QAOnAir.com that we're using. And browser is Microsoft Internet Explorer. And we'll also say do not record and run on open browsers. Close the browser when the test closes. That's fine. Keep it like that. Say apply, say OK. Now when I click on record, yes team, this video will be available. Every video that we do will be available. What it did is, number one, it has opened Internet Explorer and it has also navigated to the website. Okay. You can also see there is this small recording bar showing up. Can you see this, team? It says that it's currently recording. You can stop it or pause it and make some changes. Lot of rich features are added, team, but the fundamentals is something that you still need to focus, and that is where we'll spend our time. And we have the tool also. So I want to bring the tool to one side and the application to the other side. But there's one issue. Do you see this? The issue is that when I change the size of the window, this website is automatically responsive. It looks at the size, it squeezes the images, the pages, everything. Even the menu bar has been shrunk. So I will try and reduce this width a little bit till I see the way it looks in a normal desktop. There you go. Now I can see both the way we want to see. Okay, team? What's the first step that we did? Open the browser. Second step, go to the website. Done. Third step is to click on sign up. So I'm going to click on sign up and observe what happens on the left side when I perform any step on the right side. Whatever step I'm performing manually is getting captured at the script level on the left side under the action 1 of our test that we created in HP UFT. For every step, there is something that is coming along. And if you look deeper, it makes some kind of a sense. It says browser something, page something, link something, and we're performing some actions onto it. See, we're clicking on it. As I click on it, it is saying that. Now, I want to fill in the form. Karthik, and I'll hit a tab. Another line got created. Let's observe this line too. Browser, same page, web edit, first underscore name. I don't know what they are. Dot set. Hey, there you go. Karthik is here. The reason I'm showing you this way, team, is you have to play around with these tools. It's like you buy a new iPhone, and let's say you're a first-time iPhone user. There are two options. One, you read the user manual and go through tutorials, or two, you play around. What do you do with a new phone? You play around with it. You don't go and look at tutorials. Where you stuck, then you go and check online for help or tutorials. Same exact thing for this. If it's a car, then it's different because you have to get licensed, you have to get trained, you have to know the basic features. Then once you've bought it, there's so many features that are advanced in today's technology of cars that you want to slowly play around. You can't do everything the same day as you buy it. So I'm filling the form, and as I fill the form, notice the lines getting generated on the side. 123QW, 123QW. There you go, all done. And click on sign up. And then we got this message. See, and I clicked on this and it says I clicked somewhere. That's it. Then I want to just close this browser. All done. Now the recording is done, team. Whatever we have done manually, HP UFT has understood that. And it can now try and replicate. When we come tomorrow, we will dig deeper into this code, get a great understanding of what it has done, how it has worked, what is each component in it, and so on. And then we can get into coding. Now what we want to do is run whatever we have recorded. So let's click on run as is. I'm not changing any settings and so on. This is the test name. There are options to provide variables and parameters and so on. Ignore them. Just say run. It has opened the browser, navigated. Let us see if it clicks on sign up. It is running. It is still says running. I don't see any action on click on sign up. I don't know why. Could be multiple reasons. Maybe the settings are not correct. Maybe it doesn't know. It has not learned the way we want it to learn. It is highlighted yellow for this line number 2. It is still trying. It is still trying. How long will it try? There you go. It tried for a while and then it executed everything so quickly. How long did it take? It took 50 seconds, team, overall to complete this test. That is and executed at this time. Test iteration, row 1, what does it mean? It's related with test data that will come back. Where did it test? Internet Explorer, path for the Internet Explorer, version is 11, URL is GUI OnAir. It also shows me what happened at each point. This step, what are the details for it? This step, what are the details for it? This step, this step, this step. Every step is green. So clean and neat, right? Every step has been shown as to what happened. Now, had there been an error, then we should have shown red and we should be able to report it. And it says that all done here, all green, there are no red or errors or no warnings that have come. This is how you will notice, team, that how it performs in terms of learning what a human is doing, understanding it, storing it, and putting all this. Now, if record and run is working so beautifully, why do we even need to do our own custom coding? Why is it critical? And how does automation run? With two main questions. What is it that we want to do, and where is it should perform that task? These are the two questions that fundamentally any automation tool asks. What should we do? Where should we do? That is how automation works. So we'll take a look at it when we come back tomorrow and explore more on it. But I'll be glad to ask or answer any questions relevant to what we're doing so far. Anything to do with timing, dates, schedule, the remaining course sessions and so on, please reach the team. Can UFT be used for IVR applications? I'm not sure, team. I've not tried it, but there are certain applications it does. It used to. I have not tried it recently with any IVR, but you can try, Jimmy. Why not? See if it does. So right now we want to go in a very structured way to master the basics and then come back to this. It looks similar to Selenium IDE. To a certain extent, yes. What Selenium IDE does is it gives you a very basic record and run and then lets you take this code, install your own IDE and start programming on that. HP UFT, since it's a licensed tool, it gives you a lot of solutions inbuilt. It lets you do everything within itself. Where can I find information on my Mac to install on my Mac machine? You still need Windows. I think there's also a version for Mac that is there. If you go and search for HP UFT DMG file, you should be able to find it. Just search Google team. That's a simple thing, right? HP UFT Mac for Mac. Download for Mac. There you go. The latest version does allow. So I've not got that, but I'm using it on Windows. Other way is to install a virtual Windows machine onto your Mac and practice on it. Thank you, Rowena. Would working on this Windows be advisable over Mac? See, here's the thing. What happens if it is not a proven application on Mac, then you will suddenly start seeing there's a variation. You can't compare it, and you may assume that it is Mac problem, and you'll try and switch back to Windows. So when you're in learning stage, learn it on Windows. When you really need to implement it, and you really need a Mac to be using it, then do it on Mac. It's not hard to get Mac, Windows onto your Mac. I used to do it very often. Put a virtual machine and you can install it. Any other questions, team, for today? All right, sounds good. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. We'll see you back tomorrow, same time, 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll continue with day two and we'll move from there. Take care, everyone. Bye now. Bye all.